When life feels overwhelming, finding rhythm in the work can bring peace. I've been thinking a lot about diligence in homemaking. Some days everything feels smooth and the meals are planned and the children are happy and the dishes have been put away after every meal and the surfaces have been wiped, etc., etc. But other days, like this day today, other days feel like I'm just trying to keep up. But I've realised that diligence isn't about doing everything perfectly, but it is about showing up, even when it's hard. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Mia and you are here at the English Rose Cottage. Today I want to talk about something that's been on my heart just for a little while now, and that is what it means to be diligent in homemaking. Lately life has felt quite overwhelming here. There's been lots of tiredness and baby waking up in the middle of the night multiple times, and late nights and early starts, and just the general busyness of motherhood with 3 children under 4 and caring for a home, cooking from scratch, all these wonderful God-given things that I absolutely love doing. But I do feel and have definitely felt quite tired and overwhelmed just this week. There's going to be a mess that happens, and the house that we live in is never always going to be perfect. It's never going to be completely set if you have children because they're going to play and they live here, and to live in a home that is lived in is such a privilege. But just in terms of keeping up with everything, I have been struggling and I have been feeling overwhelmed. I think I've been trying to bake more bread and cook from scratch and nourish our family really well, but I know I'm not the only one that hasn't learnt these things growing up. I wasn't taught how to bake bread or how to properly kind of manage or care for a home with young children. And so I'm learning these things from scratch. So if you're figuring out this alongside me, welcome here. You are in the right place. Lately, I've been focusing on simple rhythms, nothing too structured, because let's be honest, life with these little ones can be quite unpredictable sometimes. But small things like starting the morning with laundry and making sure that the kitchen is clean before bed as much as I possibly can and as much as tiredness allows. And also planning meals ahead, thinking about it in the morning rather than an hour before we need to eat, or even at the beginning of the week, thinking about what we're going to have that week, so I'm not scrambling at those dinner time crunch moments. It's these little habits that keep the day from feeling like total chaos. There's something you might not know about me, but I'm an all or nothing person, and I used to think that homemaking had to be all or nothing. Like if I couldn't get everything done, what's the point? But I've learned that small, consistent steps make a bigger difference than simply waiting for the perfect moment to do it all at once. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, just try picking one thing. Maybe it's making your bed, or maybe it's setting a timer for 10 minutes and tidying up, or wiping down your bathroom sink. Just pick one thing. Some days I don't feel like doing anything. Maybe I didn't sleep well, or maybe the children are feeling extra clingy, or maybe I just simply don't want to. But I found that when I do push through that feeling, when I get up and I get dressed and I just start the day and I start it and get going, it shifts my whole mindset. I heard this quote once that said that diligence is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And honestly, that almost to me feels like exactly what homemaking is, and sometimes even motherhood. It's showing up and it's doing the work and it's trying to do it as cheerfully as we can. It's not perfect. We're not going to do it perfectly and not with endless energy, but consistently. And that's the important thing. Some of my hardest days have been the ones where I just wanted to kind of ignore everything and put off my responsibilities. But those are the days that I and that you need the diligence the most. Life with little ones under 4 means that homemaking happens in the middle of everything. It's messy, and it's certainly unpredictable, and it's sometimes, almost always, actually quite loud. And I didn't grow up knowing how to cook from scratch or bake bread or keep a home running smoothly, like I said before, so I am learning this as I go. And if you didn't grow up learning these skills, like I said, please don't feel discouraged. You're not behind. Learning these new things takes time, and I'm still figuring things out, and I've burned plenty of bread and made some very strange food in the process. But my advice is to start small. Pick one of them to learn. Maybe it's baking a simple loaf of bread, or maybe it's swapping out a store-bought item for homemade. It's just okay to be a beginner. Sometimes I think we overcomplicate things, but real nourishing food doesn't have to be hard. It's fresh bread with butter, eggs in a pan, a simple soup with homemade broth. You don't need these fancy recipes. You just need real ingredients and a willingness to try. I have tried bread making over the past maybe 3 or 4 years now, but this simple dough of just bread, of flour, water, oil, salt, yeast is my favourite. And it's not always practical. I'm still after that beautiful sandwich loaf that's really squishy and perfect for sandwiches, but this kind of artisan rustic loaf with some butter or some oil and some vinegar, it's absolutely delicious, and you just can't go wrong. And I encourage you to start here if you have never really made bread before. I think these kind of loaves can feel quite intimidating sometimes because people put so much pressure on them. There's so many pictures of them on Instagram and all the other places, and they all look so beautiful and perfect. But really, it's kind of a no-knead recipe. You sort of stretch and fold it every now and again, but you can't really go wrong. I think if you feel intimidated and you do want to start just swapping out those simple ingredients, start with a very basic bread. Flour, water, salt, yeast. That's the name of the book that I use, and I'll try and link it down below because it's absolutely brilliant. Some of the recipes, yes, are overly complicated, but this one is super simple. It's a Saturday white bread, I think it calls itself. And you can't go wrong. So if you are looking to swap out simple ingredients and have a more natural kitchen and work with your hands a little bit more, learn some new skills, I highly recommend bread making. Yes, a lot of people do it. Yes, it's hyped up, but it is worth it because you're not getting all of those processed ingredients that you do find in the shop bought loaves. So I've been really loving doing this. Absolutely delicious. So good. Homemaking isn't about grand gestures. It's about the little choices we make every single day. It's about choosing to sweep the floor even when no one else will notice. It's about lighting a candle in the evening to make things feel cozy, and also taking the time to learn something new, whether that's cooking or organising. Organising is something I've been picking up recently and really trying to learn and grapple with, and creating good rhythms in our home that just makes it feel and run smoother. And the best part is that over time those small things add up and they turn into habits, and those habits shape the atmosphere of your home. A home that feels warmed and cared for and full of love isn't made in a day. It's built moment by moment and choice by choice. Mama, I just wanted to take a moment to remind you that you are doing important work. I know the days can feel long and the to-do list never really ends, and there are meals to cook and little ones to care for and a home to keep running. Some days it might feel like no one notices all the little things you do, but, and it's an important but God sees you. He sees your tired hands, your servant's heart, and the love you pour into your family every single day. Even in the mundane moments, changing the nappies and wiping up the spills and folding laundry, your work is sacred and you are shaping hearts, creating a place of peace, and showing love in a way that echoes into eternity. Galatians 6 verse 9 says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." So please don't lose heart. I'd like to encourage you to keep going. Your work is not in vain. The little things that you are doing matter, and so do you. Even on the hard days, you are exactly the mother your children need. And God is walking with you through every single moment. So please, just for a moment, pause the video, do whatever you need to do. Take a deep breath and lean on him. And just be there. The next step. Do the next step. You are not alone. I've been working on a few simple rhythms that help me go about my day, help the day to run more smoothly even when life feels chaotic. For example, I think it's really important to start the day with a quick tidy up. I think sometimes we can get to cleaning our kitchen the night before, but if we don't get to it, then starting the day with a tidy up, starting the day with emptying the dishwasher and running things through and making sure that everything's clear before you start breakfast. It's so helpful for helping the rest of the next few hours run as smoothly as possible. I think it's important to think about whether we're trying to set ourselves unrealistic expectations in our cleaning schedules, instead of just thinking about those small things that we can be doing that make a huge difference, like making sure we wipe down the counters, making sure that the table is clear after every meal and that it's sorted after every meal, and all the pots go in the dishwasher and every surface is wiped down, or just the surface that you've been using. It's definitely in those small things that accumulate and make such a big difference. So if you are in a season where you feel like you just can't keep up and there's so much happening that you're really struggling with it all, then don't worry, just pick one thing. Just try wiping down your surfaces, or adding a load of laundry to your day, or making sure that that load of laundry gets put away in the evening. Just start with a small habit. Don't be overwhelmed. Nobody's house is perfect. Nobody's house is spotless all the time. If you have children and your house is messy, that is much more of a blessing than to have an empty house where it's clinical and there's nothing in it. And you don't want that. You want a warm home and you want the mess, because we have those great children. But if you want to just start with something small, pick up one habit today. Do it with me, because I am trying to get through my cleaning today, and this is the only moment of quiet that I've pretty much had all day while all my children are asleep. All three of them are asleep right now. So this feels amazing to have a little bit of time to, well, eat a little bit of bread and get some surfaces wiped down and clear. But if you are in that overwhelming season, don't worry. I think some days I wake up and I just don't feel like doing anything. But I have started to learn that diligence isn't about waiting to do something when you feel ready. It's about just getting into the routine and the rhythm of getting up and doing it, getting up and moving and getting dressed and sorting out that cupboard that you've been wanting to do and putting things away and not leaving rooms empty-handed. So if you are in a season of learning, don't feel like you have to have it all together. It's okay to be new at this, and diligence takes time and practice to learn, and diligence is built over time. Whether you're in an apartment or a homestead or an acreage or a Victorian home or a flat or a new build, whatever it is, just do the best that you can with what you have. For example, we are in a renovation site. I tend to show you this side of the kitchen, but look at this wall here that is completely unplastered. That's the other side of my kitchen, and we are waiting to get it renovated. But do you know what? This is what I have right now, and this is where I need to learn to be patient and to work with what I have and be thankful for what I've got. So I encourage you, what is that one thing today that you are going to try and pick up? You're going to try and sort, you're going to try and get through, because it can be difficult and it can be a challenge, but we can do it. So I'll see you next time.